Okay. Oh my goodness. I was really hoping that this was going to be in black and white. I don't know how to do that yet. So um, let's say first, I just want to say thank you for watching and welcome to MacabreAholic. So I have been talking about doing this for a really long time, and it has not been due to lack of ambition. It has been due to being hesitant about putting myself out there on the internet for everyone to see. I am not a fan of being vulnerable or aging for that matter, but I can assure you that um, my mind and my attitude are just as witty and sarcastic as they've always been. So, with that being said, regarding vulnerability and being hesitant, I want to put my one rule out there up front before we get started. So, my unequivocal stance is absolutely no bullying, no rude comments to myself or others in the comment thread. If you do, you will be blocked. There will be no conversation. There will be no discussion. You will just be blocked. If you come back under another username, you will be blocked again. I will not tolerate any of that in the comments or anything of the sort. So, also, there will be no comments that if you put them, I will take them off. So please, no comments about organized religion, your religious or political views. This is not a place for you to share. It's my place to share. So please try to keep the comments kind and referring to the posted subject matter. So I just want to give you an idea as to what I am looking to do here. So I am going to be discussing firsthand experiences that I have had throughout my entire life, talking about all things paranormal and supernatural. And I will be sharing stories, pictures, videos of places that I have been, some of them haunted. Further down the line, there will be stories, pictures, and videos of some other places that I have been that may be a little more sensitive. There are places where true crimes or really gruesome and horrific events have occurred. And if you are sensitive to that kind of subject matter, this probably is not the channel for you. But most of you who have subscribed, I know you, you know me, you know what you're dealing with. MacabreAholic is about all things dark, and I like things dark. So that is primarily the subject matter that we will be covering on this channel. Also, I am trying to abide by the YouTube terms of no profanity. Those of you who know me know that profanity is about 40% of my vocabulary naturally. So if I pause, I am trying to rephrase to keep it friendly. Although most of the people I know under 18 years of age hear way worse than my vulgarity in school, in my opinion. However, I would like to keep the channel for a minute until I decide. Look at this crazy here. Until I decide that I am no longer wanting to do this, at which point in time I will free to go off with my profanity and get my strikes and go out with a bang. Um, sorry. um, so I think we should start with why I am talking about the paranormal and the supernatural and what got me interested in the subject matter. So when I was little, and I would say, to the best of my recollection, I started having um, psychic premonitions around the ages of 4 or 5. And it was very bizarre to have dreams and feelings and situations in my head that would come to fruition later. And was always a very mature child and very aware of this being so bizarre. And when that happened, I became very interested in finding out what that was. So I read a lot of material about premonitions, clairvoyance, ESP, telekinesis, and those interests and studies led me into other areas um, that I found very fascinating. And so that led into hauntings and occult and sort of crossover into crime and whatnot. And that fascination has always been with me since, I want to say, really solidly from about the age of 12. So I have a lot of years, I won't say how many, but a lot of years under my belt of reading and studying said subject matter. So, as I said, I had a lot of psychic premonitions as a child. And unfortunately, um, over the years, it seems that my ability has become pretty minimal. And I find that very unfortunate because my psychic ability was pretty peak in my teenage years and in my early 20s. So I am in the process of doing some exercises and trying to see what I can do to improve that and make that a part of my life again. So, the first story that I'm going to share with you today is about a house that I lived in when I was in junior high. And the house was in Flint, Michigan. And as I said, I was in junior high. There were a lot of strange things that happened in this house. The first one was that there was a lock on the basement door, but it was on the inside of, let's say, at the top of the stairs. So from the dining room, the basement door was there, and you could lock. There was a chain lock where you could potentially lock someone in the basement, which I thought was really strange. I don't know what was going on that made them put a lock on the door, but even in junior high, that seemed like sort of a strange anomaly to me. So there was a lock on the basement door for the dining room, and we had a friend that came over a lot with a dog, and this particular dog would not go through the doorway between the living room, walking into the dining room where the basement door was. The dog would not go. Even if we picked the dog up and tried to get the dog to go through this area, he wanted nothing to do with that area by the basement door. He would squeeze his little dog body up against the door frame area or the walkway area. He just did not want to be by that door whatsoever. So that was strange. We had cupboard doors that would open and close on their own. There were other strange noises, just strange noises in general in the house. So I had a sleepover at this particular house, and pretty much everybody that was there had an experience. And what I heard back from the girls who had stayed with me was that they were terribly frightened while they had stayed. They had heard noises, they felt like they were being watched, they were uneasy in the house. In general, they were not happy about being there at all. And in fact, most of them said they never wanted to come back after that sleepover. The first night that we were all gathered, and I think it was a Friday night, um, the TV had turned on and off by itself. I had, and my people that are my age will understand, but I had a boom box that had a cassette player on it, and we had it sitting on a table in the living room. And while we were sitting there doing whatever we were doing, the cassette player just came on by itself. and that's not possible. Something had to physically press a button down in order to get it to play, and the radio would come on and off by itself. So there was just a lot of really strange things that happened in the house in general. And every single girl that stayed the night, I don't remember if it was 3 or 4 girls that stayed, but it was a couple, and everybody was very on edge and very unnerved. So the other thing that happened in this house, which is probably why it has stayed with me for so many years, there was one night in particular where I was sleeping in my bed, and the way the house was set up is if you came into the living room, I'm gonna try to get my hand where you can see it. When you came in the doorway, there were like 2 or 3 stairs immediately to your left, and then there were about 10 stairs going up, and then another 5 to 7 stairs turning upstairs in the hallway to get to the bedrooms and the bathroom. So my bedroom happened to be the first door on the left. One night when I was sleeping, I woke up because I was hearing something slam. And what it sounded like to me is somebody running up and down the basement stairs and ramming their shoulder into the basement door. Now, there was a chain lock on the basement door on the inside. So I could hear footsteps running up the stairs and a bang into the door. And then I could hear the sound of the chain being pulled and stopping, so to speak. So there would be a thump, 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 a bang, and then you could kind of hear the chain stopping the door from coming open. Now, I was absolutely petrified. This happened, I don't know how many times it happened, but the next sound I heard sounded like the door being broken down. What followed was what sounded like a group of small children running around in the living room in circles, maybe playing Ring Around the Rosies or something. There was some kind of voices and there was giggling and laughter, but it was all very faint. It was nothing that was distinguishable or able to point out anything clearly as to what was being said or happening. But it did sound like there were children running around in the living room. And then there were footsteps heading up the stairs towards my bedroom. Now, I was absolutely petrified. I remember, pulling the blanket up to my eyes, waiting to see what was going to walk in my bedroom. I didn't know. And I think when the steps got about halfway up the stairs, it would have been to the point where they'd made the last turn to come down up the last few steps to get to the hallway. Everything went in reverse. The footsteps went back down the stairs. The children were running in circles, laughing and making noise. And then there were footsteps into the dining room. The basement door closed, and the footsteps went back down into the basement. I don't remember how long I was awake, but I know it was a really, really long time. I don't know if I ever got back to sleep. I don't recall that much about what happened after that. But I do know that in the morning, um, my brother and I were sitting at the breakfast table, and he had mentioned he had heard noises in the middle of the night and been woken up and wanted to know if I had heard anything. I didn't want to be leading, so I said, "Yes, I did. Tell me what you heard." And I kind of let him lead the conversation, but the noises and the experience were identical. He had heard the exact same thing that I did. His bedroom was further down than mine, and, oddly enough, he was the only other one that heard it. My mother was supposed to be a light sleeper. She said she never heard anything, and, the other person in our house did not hear anything, but my brother and I both heard the exact same thing. So it was just really, really, really crazy to this day. I still can't explain what happened. There were so many strange things that happened in that house. As I said, cupboards opening and closing, television turning on and off, radios on and off, cassette players on and off, and that requires a fair amount of pressure in order for that to happen. Lights turning on and off. There was also the smell of, and I hear this on paranormal shows all the time, and I know it's legit because I smell the same thing. All I can say is rot and sulfur, and it was very scary. It was very scary, especially at such a young age. I think as an adult, I'd be a little more capable of handling that now than at age of 13. So with the age of the internet, I did go back and look up the house and try to see if there was any information out there available to me. And the house has been torn down. I did remember the address and where it was located. It no longer exists. There's nothing there on Google Earth. And I did some research about the property and just came up empty handed. So I have no answers for what was going on there, why it happened. I have no clues as to what happened ahead of time. I just know that that was my experience. That was my brother's experience. And it was very frightening. So that is the end of the story, at least for episode one. And I wasn't 100% sure what the next story or subject matter was going to be. Um, Things are really crazy busy right now. Life is throwing us a tremendous show. Um, but I will keep everyone in the loop with updates on Facebook. And I do think, I think some of our next couple of episodes might be about Ouija board usage. I have a lot of stories to share about experiences that I've had with Ouija boards, and they are crazy. Like, they're insane. If people didn't know me and didn't know that I am a straight shooter and I am brutally honest, they would think that I was making this up. They would think I'm making it up because the stories are just so bizarre. So I think the next episode is going to be Ouija board oriented. And if you have any questions or comments or feedback, please feel free to put those in the comments. If you want to know anything about Ouija boards or you have something to say about today's episode. And again, thank you to those of you who have subscribed already. I can see who you are. I do get notifications about who is subscribed. My male friends have been showing up. Um, yeah, my male friends have been showing up. So, early shout out to Crash, Brandon, and George. Thank you. And I want to give a shout out to Riley, who promised me to get her friends to subscribe once I start posting videos. So thank you for the encouragement and the support, Riley. And in the future, there's going to be a couple of changes, but I haven't had the time to mess around with how to do this and edit videos and all the stuff that I want to do. So I just wanted to get something out there because I said I would put something out the end of December or the first week of January. And per usual, I am running fashionably late. So in the future, there will be some music and probably an intro. The music will be mine, and I'm excited about sharing that. I also have some artwork that my niece is working on for me, for, I don't know, the logo. So if she doesn't get a move on, I might put feelers out there for anybody who might like to work with a logo artwork and have me give you credits. Would appreciate it if you're an artist and you want to be on here. And yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for joining me on MacabreAholic, and hopefully we will do this again in a week or two, and we'll see how things go. And no strikes against me today. I did not violate the YouTube terms regarding profanity. Amazing. Until next time, stay dark.